I'll just now realize I didn't start the YouTube. But with that said, shout out to you guys watching this on YouTube. You're just not seeing it start right now. But I fucked up. But hey, it happens. But like, comment, subscribe if you watch this on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, Threes from the Ring. Datro's not here. He has back problems. So, but anyway, back to what I was saying though. Drew Holiday proved that he is the best perimeter defender in the league. His peers has not been lying or capping on him these past 2-3 seasons. He is that, and just the Bucks as a whole, just Mike Budenholzer. As much as Datra may have to apologize to Mike Budenholzer on this podcast because the Mike Budenholzer team has finally won a championship. Has won a championship. I do want to give the Suns applause for, despite losing and blowing an 0-2 lead, put up a fight and still giving us a really great series. Outside, I
Yeah,
think, what
shout
was
out
it,
to them.
game 3, where they just outright got routed. But
Yeah, it was game
get,
3. They got 20 piece.
yeah, but like outside, like it was a very good competitive 6 game series. So like, shout out to the Suns putting forth the effort. They might not see this shit ever again because the Western Conference is going to be a freaking hellhole next season.
Next year, Western Conference is gonna be ridiculous, bro.
It is,
Ridiculous.
yeah. But
Even for the East next year.
the East is gonna get better too. But the Bucks, I think, will.
I think they will still definitely be the
The
favorites.
Bucks is still gonna be one of the favorites. They still gonna be a top 2, top 3 team in the East, regardless, going to next season. And plus, Giannis just finally has the weight off his shoulders, and now he knows what it takes to win. And that sometimes all it takes is
And
that
did it
one to
in
figure
very
it out.
convincing fashion as well. Man dropped 50 and what 14 last night.
50. He had his stat line was very my career like. I believe it was 50, 15, 5 blocks. Probably had 5 assists as well. So like his stat line was ridiculous last night. So, and it was justified. Like Giannis all seriously like the best player on the court, and I know I'm probably one of the few people who hate crowning somebody being the best player in the league after winning a championship, because this kind of has been the narrative the past few seasons of, you win a championship, if you're the best player, you might be the best player in the league. And I blame the time when Kawhi won, this shit started. But Giannis actually might be closer to being best player in the league than we give him credit for.
I agree.
Like, yeah, but
You know,
before
you
we
gotta
go,
give credit where credit is due. He pushed through everything, that he had to go through.
mm-hmm,
He didn't listen to what anybody had to say about him, not going to be able to win a championship with the Bucks. Having to go through the coach change from Jason Kidd to Budenholzer. Everything that he went to led up to this point. And I
mm-hmm.
believe, it was just meant to be for him. He's that next guy in the league where we can say like he's always going to be in that best player in the league conversation. Right now, based on what you just said, the guy that has the chip, you know, that's the best player in the league. So
But I think this year is actually justified though. Like
yeah,
Kawhi was just a scapegoat because, like, what was it that year? The Lakers didn't make the playoffs, and KD's Achilles exploded. But if you remember closely, KD looked like God in that playoffs, and all of that. And then LeBron just wasn't in the playoffs that year. And then last year, the Lakers won the championship and just said,
this
"Hey."
year
But this year, I
it was
it's
legit
safe
no
to
excuse.
say that Giannis deserves to be put in that top 3 conversation. He deserves it, deservingly. Because like the performance I seen was just different. Like we saw him go head to head with KD, even though it took Kate if KD just literally had a regular sized foot,
Literally,
it would be a different conversation.
they just showed they just showed that picture again, bro. And it's like if his foot was about as big as mine, he would have nailed it probably.
Exactly, but at the same
But
time, if he had
it's
your
neither
size
here or there.
foot, but if he had your size foot, and he was a 7 foot tall, he'd have bad feet problems and shit. So that'd be a different
Probably.
situation. But I think it's I feel like it's right, it's justified to give Giannis that credit of being in that conversation with KD, Bron, in that top 3 best player in the league discussion, or if you want to put him best, I won't argue with you. It's just I think this series made a lot of people realize, even probably including myself, that Giannis isn't. We don't need Giannis to play like motherfucking KD. We just need Giannis to just play to his strengths. And the bogus part is this: he figured out what he's supposed to do and dominate in it, and look like the best player on the court. Play to his roles, play to his strengths. His main weakness is still shooting, but he's
He
still
didn't have to
developing.
this series, really.
He's still developing. Like he has that turnaround fade was money most of this series. He has a few little post
He's
moves he
only
can
26,
rely
by the way.
on. You said what?
He's only 26, by the way.
Yeah,
So this is
still
really the beginning of his prime.
exactly. So he's only going to get better, and I think I'm not gonna sit and say like he's not. I ain't gonna sit and say he's a bad free throw shooter. He's not. Like he shoots in the 60s,
But he's
70.
a determined free throw shooter.
Yeah, he'll shoot in the 60s when that's like for man's technically a power forward center. That's okay. Like I ain't gonna. I'm like it's okay. And plus niggas built like a fucking freight train. Most niggas built like freight trains can't shoot free throws for some odd reason. But if he was to just develop, I'm not even gonna say be a great shooter or be a fucking or be just be get a respectable mid range. And because thing
like
is,
around
Giannis
the post area for the most part.
huh?
Around the post area for the most part.
Yeah, like if he gets a consistent where it's like, oh, okay, I don't have to still half back dive power my way through you or do certain those type of moves, but I can fake you out and hit you with a mid range within like the 10-15 foot range. Gee,
Who's stopping that?
nobody. And nobody. That's the crazy thing. Nobody. So it's only up for Giannis from here. Uh it's gonna be really interesting to see what the Bucks do for here on out. Because like Chris Middleton literally had, I think, had a very impressive playoff run. Drew had a very great decent playoff run as well. Excuse me, decent playoff run as well. I'm curious on how they continue to build around them because they all 3 got max contracts, and you got to figure out a way to just surround them with consistent talent because once you win a championship, the price range for your role players always go the hell up. Look at the Lakers last year; they had to pay Kuzma, they had to pay KCP, and because of that, they had to let go. Dwight Howard had to be let go. Rondo had to been let go. JaVale had to been let go. So it's gonna be I'm very curious to see how they round up that roster because Bobby Portis is about to be a free agent. He's about to get a bag from somebody.
Yeah.
Like Bobby Portis showed his ass in this playoff series, in most of the finals and the playoffs. Showed his ass. He deserves it, and he deserves whatever check he's going to get from somebody. He's going to be a really good center for somebody. I think Brook Lopez contract is going to be due really soon. What do you do with him? Or do you consider putting Giannis at center more full time? Shit like that. Who else? Like PJ Tucker's contract is up as well. What do you do with him? So you have players where you have to sit there and figure out like, damn, we gotta pay these niggas. What the hell do we do? Is Giannis good enough to attract like solid role level players to come to Milwaukee? No matter what, it's still Milwaukee. Can you attract them to come to Milwaukee and be like, okay, come here and you can win? It's still the East. The only thing still the biggest threat is still KD and the Brooklyn Nets. But even then, they got to figure out their fucking roster. And
I wanted to talk about them a little bit too.
Yeah, and with Philly, it's all depends on what they do with Ben Simmons.
Depends on what they decide they're gonna do with Ben.
Yeah, like it falls on that. So Like in terms of like looking at the East, like the Bucks have a good chance of just probably making it back to the finals, but also it depends
But
on what the
remember, the
Nets
Celtics are
do
still
and what
coming up too.
and
The
the
Celtics could be.
Celtics might have what the Celtics do this offseason as well plays a huge role. So it's gonna be interesting to see. But regardless, congrats to the Bucks. I'm happy for you niggas. Happy for Giannis G. Like regardless who won
Well
this championship,
deserved.
I was gonna be happy for whoever won. Like it was well deserved. And all of that. But anything you want to add about the Bucks before we talk about the Suns for a little bit?
Um, like you said, it's well deserved. I think this is like I said, Giannis can only go up even further and elevate even further from this. Um, yeah, this day moment in the sun.
Yeah, most definitely. So let's go ahead and talk about the Suns. Um, they blew it. Of like I mentioned earlier, they were up 2-0 and proceeded to lose 4-2. Fucking be that way sometimes. Uh, you can sit there. It's easy to point fingers at Chris Paul. Yeah, you could sit there and cap and say, yeah, he was hurt. But if you on that floor, you got figured out. Giannis played with a hyperextended knee and proceeded to average a
I'm
stupid ass
telling,
stat
bro,
line.
that's what else I wanted to say. I forgot that he was hurt. I forgot
I
because
already
even
forgot.
that first game he played, what did he? Didn't he have 30 that first game?
No, first game he had like 20 and 10. Like he looked more rusty than
Yeah,
hobbled.
he had a solid double that game. I forgot he was hurt by game two or three. I forgot he was hurt.
Exactly. But like Giannis, I mean, but yeah, but you can throw whatever excuse you want for Chris Paul. Like he blew it outright. I'm out. Keep it G real. He blew it. He blew it. And then Devin Booker. I think a lot of y'all have to go to a Kobe memorial or mural, and I tweeted this and apologize. Get up and get on your knees, look up to God, and say, God, tell Kobe I apologize for comparing him to Devin Booker.
Including Stephen A. Smith because he was the first one to
He
really
was the
get that
first to
train
start
started.
that bullshit ass narrative, and then Twitter just took it and ran with it. And I love Devin Booker. I've been a fan of Devin Booker's game since Kentucky. So like I
And he
rocks
even
with like
said, "Don't compare him to Kobe.
yeah, he even
We
said
don't
it
want
like
that."
yeah, that's not what he wanted. Like even though yeah, is he a Kobe disciple? Most definitely, but he said don't do that to him. But we like even regardless, Devin Booker didn't play up to expectations as well as he should, especially in that final game. Like like last night's game, he literally looked horrible. Um, Aiden, honest, Aiden just had that man was guarding Giannis 70% of the
He had his work
series,
cut out for him.
and
Giannis was on a
despite
fucking
having
mission.
an amazing playoff leading before this, you had to deal with a bad motherfucker. I understand that you probably just didn't have the energy to just keep up, but even still, he didn't look as dominant and potent. Excuse me, as he did in previous series. So like if the Sun like after game two, the Suns just lost it. They probably and like they couldn't even get consistent production from the others besides Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder's probably the
The Crowder
I
and
w-
Cameron Payne.
now even Cameron Payne didn't really wasn't that good until last night, but like Crowder was probably the most consistent Sun. And I know that might sound
Yeah.
ridiculous, and you might listen to this podcast and say, "Yo, this nigga tweaking," but after game one, because Crowder defensively wasn't that bad. Game
He
one,
was the best defender on the floor.
yeah, until it just niggas got hot. But Crowder consistently did what he was supposed to do: hustle, play good defense, and shoot threes. He was consistently probably the most consistent Sun. I ain't gonna call him the best Sun, most consistent Sun on the court this whole series, and that's not a
As
good
far as
thing.
this is my job and this is what I need to do.
Exactly, and
For the
like he
most part, he
made
did that.
Yeah, and he made some plays that was very important to either get the momentum swaying their way or at least keep the lead going until it went left. But Crowder was pretty damn consistent. I Cam Johnson was really decent as well. He's gonna get it. He's gonna be really
But
fucking
Cam
decent.
Johnson's gonna get paid.
Cam Johnson's gonna be like, I don't know what his 3-point percentage was for this season. I'm gonna look it up real quick as I'm talking about him. But that boy gonna be a problem in a few more years. G, maybe start. It's
And
probably
Mikal
sooner than
Bridges
that.
was pretty solid
And
for the
Bridges was
most
really
part.
solid too. Like I would say,
Mikal
they role
Bridges,
players were solid, but it doesn't help when Chris Paul is turning the ball over. Devin Booker is getting in foul trouble, so fucks up what you can possibly do, or in the fact that Devin Booker felt like he had the gun as well. So shit happens. So and even then, like I feel like over the course of the series, Cam Johnson was losing his stuff, and then even Cameron Payne just didn't have an impact either on the game much either. So man, he only Cam Johnson only in the second year. Oh, he still got time to get better.
most of their core is I think how long has Mikal Bridges been in the league?
I think this is his fourth, fifth year. But yeah,
Because this honestly the first year where I really got a good look at him too.
same. Like, and I watched a lot of Suns games on League Pass in previous years, but he never stood out on the court like compared to he did in previous years. This season, Cam Johnson shot 35% from three, but his rookie year he shot 40%. So probably just had an
Yeah,
off
he's
year, but I'm pretty sure
streak
for the
shoot.
playoffs,
He's a steady shooter, but sometimes they percentages go. He only went down like what 5%, so
yeah, it's
that's
not
still
that
not
bad.
bad.
It's just and he shot more this year as well, so that probably plays a role.
Right.
But for the playoffs, he shot 44% from three. Like, hey, like
Like
he's
I
only
said,
like I said,
he's
he's
gonna
only
be
gonna get
special
better.
if he doesn't stay with the Suns. He's still gonna
Yeah,
he can only
he's
go up.
only gonna
He's
get
gonna get
better.
paid.
He's not scared of the moment. He's an okay defender. He's still developed as a way better defender. Plus, he's 6'8", so he's tall and langly. So he's only like the
Hey,
Suns. The Suns might not. I don't see the Suns getting doing much. Like they're going to be. And if Chris Paul returns, they're still going to be in the conversation next year.
I think
But
regardless, they're gonna be a team that you're not gonna put them down easily. I think
yeah,
because of the experience that they have right now, they're gonna take this. Because I'll be honest, I don't think that they're going as far as they went this year, next year.
hell no,
But I definitely think they're not a team that you're gonna put them down in in 4 or 5 games
hell
in the
no, no.
playoffs.
Like they they
You're
got
gonna have to fight,
yeah. You gonna have to
but
fight.
they gotta next year Devin Booker he got to learn to be a smarter defender. He's not the best defender on the floor, but he's not the worst defender neither. But he has to play a lot smarter defensively. At
Yeah,
least just stay out of foul trouble. Because like you said the other day, you could be a bad defender but not foul people all the time.
yeah. It's like part of defense is just moving your feet. Like if this was the '90s, Devin Booker would be a pretty decent defender because he's handsy.
Mm.
He like because
Yeah,
that's what he do. He's handsy, but he's also stupid because he gets a little too physical with his hands. It the modern the modern way to play defense nowadays is staying in front of your person and moving your legs and just energy. If you could put a little hands on them, but you gotta be very tactical with it. It sounds very weird,
right.
but so if Devin Booker just has to learn that, and like if I know he's about to go to Tokyo, so you're gonna be with Drew Holiday, pick that nigga brain.
And
Shit,
and Chris Middleton.
Chris, you gonna be on the flight with them
Chris
niggas. Pick their
Middleton is a pretty
brains.
solid defender himself. That was another underrated thing about the shit. Chris Middleton really showed how solid of a defender he was
He was
before.
always a solid defender. Like I ain't gonna call him good, but he's always been a solid defender. But Devin Booker just if he gets better defensively, like just to be okay, at the very best, be okay, and bring your foul totals down to probably like 2 a game, that's a difference. Because Devin
Yeah,
Booker, let's just say Devin Booker never got in foul trouble in game 5. Was it?
they probably be up.
They win that game.
They
The
probably won
five
that
six
game.
minutes he was not on the court and he was on
At first,
fire. You needed those points. You just needed him on the floor. It would have made a difference. So Devin Booker probably gonna like. I believe Devin Booker gonna realize what he got to do and get better. I'm not really concerned about him. Aiden, I think is only going to get better. Only thing I really ask
yeah,
Aiden is just be more confident.
just be more confident, consistently aggressive.
Yeah, like just be more confident, consistently aggressive, and all of that. And I think the main question with the Suns is like, what do you do with Chris Paul? Like, do you let him walk? Do you give him money for the next couple of seasons and see if y'all can possibly run it back? Because I I think you don't gotta worry. Aiden, yeah, you gotta you gotta throw eight. You gotta pay Aiden this summer, regardless. And like you just do you want to enter luxury tax to make sure to see if y'all can run it back next year, even though the West is about to be a fucking war zone because the Warriors is
The
going to be
Nuggets are
back,
still good. The
huh?
Warriors will be back
The Warriors is going to be back in the picture, hopefully.
to some capacity.
Hopefully, I ain't gonna put hopefully, but the Warriors might go for a run. The Lakers is going to be back and healthy and might be reloaded a little bit. Um,
The Jazz will be still in
the
there
Jazz is
somewhere.
still going to be solid.
The
Trying to
Clippers, they're still in
Kawhi
there.
getting that ACL surgery and ridding up that a partial ACL tear is the same as in terms of getting surgery because he was better off probably not getting surgery and just letting it hopefully heal naturally. I believe I don't remember, but him getting the surgery, he's going to be out the same amount of time as if he had a regular ACL tear. So he might be out for a bulk of next season. The Clippers is not going to be that good regular season wise, but there's a possibility that Kawhi might not even play next season because we know how Kawhi Leonard is when it comes to injuries.
Exactly.
So we don't know what the
And even though
Clippers.
I expect him to re-sign with the Clippers,
But if I'm the
until
Clippers,
he
I'll
actually
probably be
does,
like, I'm the Clippers. I'm like, well, explore your options.
yeah, it's a possibility that he doesn't. He can
Yeah,
go somewhere.
yeah, but yeah, like the Clippers, it depends what they do this off season. But yeah, but and the Nuggets is gonna be good. So it's a good chance the West is gonna be a war zone altogether. And Lord knows who else might just come out from the West and just get great. Like New Orleans could still magically get good. The Grizzlies are still in the conversation. While we know the Timberwolves figure it out. So like it's going the West is going to be really interesting next year. And then
Yeah,
so like the Suns, this was probably the best chance they had. But I understand if you choose to keep Chris Paul, it keeps you in that like, hey, we've been there, we could probably do it again, but there's a difference. AD probably will be healthy. LeBron is going to be healthy. Jamal Murray is back, and Jokic might want his revenge for getting his ass slapped up by you niggas. So on and so forth. So, but overall, like I'm happy for the Suns. They did they thug dizzle, G. Like they really did they thug dizzle. Uh
shout out to Monty Williams too, because he
oh,
went
and my
after the game. He went and talked to the Bucks locker room. Congratulated them. There's not too many coaches that you hear that would really do that. I'm pretty sure there is other ones, but we got him on record, saying nice things about, for them, encouraging them and congratulating them. So, shout out to him as much as he's been through. That's a great experience for him, just even being able to get to the finals as a black coach.
yeah. So yeah, but shout out to Monty Williams. Like he's a great coach, really great coach. Even though somebody did tweet that the if the Suns be down 20 points, he's gonna give a speech about how to be great, that they're great black men and they gotta be great role models to young black boys. I cried, G. I was like, come on, G. Like, what the hell that gotta do? But he knew he making those type of speeches though. But it works though. But shout out to the Suns though, G. I'm happy for them. They had their
Well,
moment. It's just unfortunate that you just ran into Giannis, G. That's what happened. But yeah, so one
but
last.
that
Let's go back
concludes
to the.
the NBA season. This has been one of the best
This
playoff
was a good
experiences I've
playoffs.
watched in a while. This is
Yeah,
really good. I always say unpredictable basketball is great basketball, and it was very unpredictable. Every single thing that we thought was going to happen, it got we got flipped on our heads this time around. So I was very happy with this year's playoff.
yeah, the playoffs this year was really freaking good. I I would say almost every series to an extent had its moments where it was just like you had to watch, tune in some capacity, especially
Yeah,
like in the second round. But before we move on from basketball, or at least move on from the finals, uh, in the midst, and I really this is the only issue I had with Giannis. Nigga, you just had to mention super teams and shit like that during your press
oh yeah,
conference. And now the whole world is like, oh my god, super teams and shit. And niggas are calling the Bucks a super team. Shit, I'm like, nigga, this is
no,
not a super team. They are a. It's a. And this the thing. It's nothing wrong with super teams, but also some niggas just literally calling every team a super team isn't fair. I think some niggas believe LeBron and AD is a super team. It's not. It's just a
no.
duo. It's just a fucking duo, G. Uh, like the Bucks is not a super team. They're nowhere near a super team. They are like they're close in the organic sense, but Chris Middleton's an all star, but he's not a star. He's an all star. Drew
Drew
Holiday's an all
Holiday
star.
was a former All Star, but he's
Yeah,
not a
Drew Holiday.
superstar.
Well, and Drew Holiday is a all star level player, amazing defender, but he's an all star level player who isn't an all star because he hasn't been an all star since years.
Yeah,
So
it's been since like his second or third year.
yeah, so it's been a long time since Drew Holiday actually been in seen an all star game, but he's an all star level play. He's respected. He's like his numbers don't lie. You know, let's just put it that way. But they're not a super team. Giannis is just that fucking great, and Chris Middleton
Giannis is
just
a generational talent.
exactly, and Chris Middleton just stepped up to play high level. But also, the Bucks is a well constructed team.
Yeah, this is
Above
what
all,
happens. This is like the first. This is like the Bucks are kind of like the first Warriors team that won. I wouldn't. That first Warriors team wasn't really a super team.
yeah, like the Warriors wasn't a super team.
They
Just they didn't
drafted
become
all of those
super until
guys.
KD got there. Because then now you have four All Stars, but Draymond is not a normal All Star.
And Draymond's not necessarily a superstar himself. He just has a good. He is very very good at playing his role when he
Yeah,
was healthy.
he made All Star teams because of it. So it's weird in terms of that, but an organic team can rise to become a super team. Let's just put it that way, because you can
Yeah,
argue that the Warriors for KD got there was a super team because they had three All Stars, one superstar, and Steph. Clay was a star. Draymond being an All Star level player, and Andrew Bogut was an All Star previously. So you can make a case. And Iggy was there too. So like was a former All Star level player. You can make a case, but niggas would sit there and say Andrew Bogut and Iggy were not All Star levels players at that point. So it's like okay, but
but that's the whole point of the conversation. It's not just because they not at that point don't make them a super team. Because let's
exactly.
say like even with OKC when they had their big three, I wouldn't have called them a super team at first because they drafted all of those guys
But they
and
were
they
all
were still
you
coming
had,
into
but
their
they all
own at
grew
the
to be
same
three
time.
All Star level players.
Yeah,
So like you can argue that oh wait they somewhat of like you could argue that they were somewhat of a super team. somewhat. But they were still just too young, and then the term wasn't being thrown around like that.
Right.
But it's just my issue with it is like the Bucks is just a well put together team to have two legit all stars, one of them being a superstar, one being an all star, with Drew, who's a former All Star but is an All Star level player, which is weird. I'm at this point just borderline All Star. I just call him borderline All Star.
Yeah.
Brooke Lopez is a former All Star level talent. People forget that Brooke Lopez used to freaking be good,
That was a
amazing.
2010 guy, like 5-6 years ago.
I wouldn't say he never averaged more than double figures in rebounds, so he was like more of a 20-9 guy. You know that he don't like
But he was a
rebounds.
scorer. He was a legit scorer. He was a first
But
option scorer.
he was a nigga was a walking post bucket. G.
Yeah.
Brooke Lopez used to give niggas hell in the paint, and then he turned to a 3-point shooter at some point of his career. But Brooke Lopez is an All Star level talent. Okay, that's it. And PJ
That's
Tucker's a
it.
really
They're
good
not
defender. And
the
PJ
whole
Tucker's
point
a
is
really
that they're
good
not a
defender.
super team.
But like they have a really put together roster. Mugs know they roles. Mugs step up when they need to step up. You have 4 or 5 dudes who can easily give you double figures with no problem. They're just a well put together team, and you gotta give them credit for that. Now, this is my issue: is when people bring up super teams, and this is why I'm mad Giannis brought it up. It's nothing wrong with players building teams. It's really not.
Because I
But
wholeheartedly
also,
believe that back in the 90s, niggas should have teamed up to beat the Bulls. They probably would have got him at least one or twice.
if niggas wasn't scared of free agency, the Bulls would have got eventually. Let's just put it that way. If Charles
Yeah.
Barkley realized he could have went to to the Rockets sooner, he would have. If Clyde Drexler realized, okay, it's just not working here in Portland, he should have left sooner. Those are the type of points that need to be made. But it's just a different era. There's nothing wrong with that. But the Bucks was just one of the very few teams that actually was able to do it organically.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we look at the previous champions, it's because some players said, fuck it, I want to go here, and it worked. The Lakers, because LeBron said, I want to go here, and then AD said, fuck them young niggas, I want to go to LA. Sorry, Drew, I love you though, my nigga. And proceeded to go to LA. And then the Lakers became what they were. And
Can't be
won
mad
a
at that.
championship. You look at the freaking Raptors. Mostly it's organic, but it took Kawhi saying, "I want the fuck up out of here," and look what happened. He wins the championship after KD Achilles imploded. KD says, "I want to go to the Warriors. I want to fucking win." Hey, guess what? I won 2
Yeah.
championships in a row. Warriors was organically built, so that's just a little different. But they only won one while organically built. Cavaliers, LeBron just said he wanted to go back, and Kevin Love just slowly but surely just dwindled.
Yeah, you could argue that wasn't really that much of a super team.
It started off as a super team, but it's just by that third year, Kevin Love arguably by the second time they were in the final, the 3-1 when the Warriors blew 3-1 lead, Kevin Love wasn't shit.
That's why they had to do what they had to do.
But yeah, so yeah, like you could look at it and be like, oh well, regardless, it just seems like players do a better job building and picking what they want to do than some of these teams. The Bucks did a great job building a squad. I also kind of give the Raptors credit too because it took Masai Ujiri saying I want turning DeMar DeRozan into Kawhi Leonard. Made a hell of a difference. So it's like, but regardless, a lot of these gyms don't know how to build teams. If you know how to build teams, you wouldn't have to rely on your stars to recruit.
Exactly.
Like
Teams
Giannis
like
didn't
Detroit wouldn't be fucking. Most teams that are laughing stocks wouldn't be laughing stocks right now if they at least knew how to build a team that can make a playoff series every year.
exactly. Dame wouldn't be questioning what he wants to do because he's going to ask out. This thing, he's
Yeah,
going to ask out.
it's nothing more that he can do for that team, and they don't. Every
And
single year, they make a move that does not move the needle
we
for
say
them.
this
Whether
every
it's a
year.
coaching change, they get a bench player that's not going to do anything for them. They just doing stuff, whatever can really make the playoffs. And I said it. They're either going to have to miss the playoffs entirely or get their ass beat in the playoffs really bad again for him to be like, okay, this isn't it.
And I only think it's going to be that. This was going to happen. They're going to go this offseason. They're gonna put CJ McCollum on the trading block. CJ Nurkic is gonna be on the trading block, of course.
That's what I'm saying. This is the seed.
But
This is
this
it.
thing, any team with common sense is gonna be like, I'm not trading my assets for CJ with a bad back and Jukic and Nurkic, who is nigga 7'2" and soft.
Sucks.
I want to say sucks, soft.
When you need
Like,
him
gee,
to
what
play
AD did
ball,
to
he
that,
sucks.
what AD did to that nigga in the bubble was just humiliating. Humiliating. So
That man's home country.
literally, but so what I was saying, but yeah, Giannis was in a very fortunate position where I would at least sit there and say the Bucks put forth the effort to build a team around him. They've been a top team in the East. All they did was turn Eric Bledsoe into Drew Holiday, which is
But if they
I
could have did
think
that any sooner, it
if
would
they
have
was
been
do it
lovely
sooner, it
for
would
them.
have been way better. Because I think I was saying shit. Fuck it, turn Chris
They were
Middleton to James Harden this season and watch what happens. Turn Chris Middleton to Bradley Beal, see what happens. But Chris Middleton stepped up, so I don't have to. I clearly, I have no more slander for
I have
Chris Middleton.
no ill
I
will
have no
towards
more
Chris
ill will towards
Middleton.
that nigga. I will not call that nigga Chris Middleton anymore until proven otherwise. But you turn Eric Bledsoe, who was not giving you shit on either end of the floor. I still believe his all defense should have been Drew Holiday's. The nigga has not. I still need
He
somebody
really
to tell me
should have.
who.
I
I
still don't
still need to
understand.
know who Eric Bledsoe clamped up.
As far as I know, the last time I saw him stick defense was on Terry Rozier, and he sent that man home. He acted like he didn't know who he was after he got crossed up.
Sent that
So
man
I
to
don't know.
God. So, but yeah, so you turn Eric Bledsoe into Drew Holiday, who is the best perimeter defender in the league, who can give you between 15 to 25 a night. You got something. And also Drew is a very underrated point guard. So
Yeah,
he
he started
so
the league as a point guard.
so you got better at the point guard position. Giannis only got better. All you had to do was just get it together and hope Coach Budenholzer didn't fuck you over. But she didn't. He didn't. So overall, when it comes to super teams, Giannis lucked up that the Bucks give a damn about winning and realize like, oh, they made the right moves to make sure they were in a winning position.
But
Comparing to somebody like Dame, who's been in Portland for 10 plus years, and hasn't gotten shit, but swept by the Warriors consistently, swept out the playoffs consistently, and luckily he has a few game winners that we remember in the playoffs, so we know it's not Dame. We know that Dame's carrying these niggas as much as he can. But regardless of the fact, Dame has a
you can only do
history.
so much carrying.
The Blazers have not done nothing to help Dame out in a Western Conference because they say we made the playoffs. He's getting us to the playoffs. Okay. And this is what I'm gonna say. Giannis didn't have to run for the ground because the Bucks gave a fuck. Dame has been grinding for 10 plus years. Hasn't gotten shit. but a broom up his ass. So fuck the run for the grind. If Dame wants to go somewhere for the fucking super team, let him.
So be it.
It's been warranted. It's been warranted.
Because honestly, when you think about it, that's when most guys, after about 10 years in the league, when they've, maybe some of them might have made one final, but after that couldn't get back there. The team itself is slowly declining. After about 10 years of that, you kind of question, like, okay, what's my next move? Because obviously this team isn't
They're
trying
not
to
doing
put
what they're
anything
supposed to
else
do.
around me. It
They're
was the
not
same
doing what
thing
they're
with
supposed to
LeBron.
do.
Cleveland was not trying to they didn't want to put anybody else around him. They couldn't get anybody else to come there. He was literally carrying them since he got into the league.
Them niggas picked Antoine Jameson over Amari Stoudemire, G.
And that's all I needed to know. Because I thought
Though
Amari
I
was
will
going
sit
there
here
right
and
now.
say, this. Amari Stoudemire his back or his knees, I forgot which one, were slowly turning into freaking cookie crumble.
It was his knees, because remember he had the microfracture.
Oh yeah, it was his knees. His knees were slowly becoming fucking cookie crumble. Amari Stoudemire at that point was still a really amazing power forward. And if you was to give that version of LeBron, Amari Stoudemire, in his final year at Cleveland, he probably would have beat the Celtics.
Yeah, they would have. Because Amari was still really good that last season.
Amari had a
Going into
habit
the
of
2011
Amari
season,
used
he
to
was the
give
top
Tim
10
Duncan
MVP
fits. Amari used to give Tim Duncan fits. So I know he would have gave KG hell. With no problem.
At all.
So it's just Cleveland didn't make the proper moves until LeBron sat there and said, all right, bye. And then he had to come back. He says like, hey, they got Kyrie. I fucks with that nigga. All right. Hey, fuck that nigga Wiggins. Give me Kevin Love.
Literally.
See?
Literally.
But Super Team narrative, I'm tired of it. Stop that shit. It's lame as hell.
Because it's going to keep happening.
I know it is, but regardless, it's very few teams that were built organically that consistently win. Let's put it that way, especially in this era.
And I will say this, even for said super teams, it's going to be hard to be a dynasty in this era. There's too much talent spread across the league right now where you can just be like, okay, we're going to win 4, 5, 6 championships. No, you're going to have to show us that you can win at least one, because KD, Kyrie, and Harden can't even stay healthy enough to get out the conference.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's to be seen. I'm all for whatever is happening. I love the way the direction of the league is going. I think we're going into another good era of the league right now.
Yep. So I'm looking forward to where things go next. But next season is gonna be really more fun. Hopefully the Delta variant doesn't run roughshod among this country even further. And also, I don't think you heard, but there's a Gamma variant out here. So
I mean, them motherfuckers run around like the Hulk.
There's a Hulk variant of COVID, G. Oh, that's wild. Let's go ahead and get into wrestling. We gotta rewind to Hell in the. I mean, why do I keep calling it Hell in the Cell? Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank. Well, before Money in the Bank.
Yeah, so Money in the Bank.
SmackDown.
So, SmackDown. Go ahead and you go ahead and talk about SmackDown.
All right, so the first SmackDown with fans back, damn near everybody got a pop because they were just that excited to be back in those arenas.
Mm-hmm.
We started off the show with the 6-man tag between Edge and the Mysterios. Edge got such a huge pop. Mysterios got a decent pop as well. Roman got a huge pop. And like you said last week, like the fans are really going to show who they really were messing with during the whole Thunderdome era, who they weren't really feeling. So, they had the 6-man tag between Edge and the Mysterios and Roman and the Usos. Roman and the Usos came out with the win after they got a assisted roll-up on Rey Mysterio. After the match, they tried to attack them again, and Edge ended up putting Roman in the crossbar in the crossbar choke with the thing from the steel chair.
Mm-hmm.
Finn Balor
Made
came
his
back
return.
after that, I believe. He,
Oh yeah, I say yeah. Finn made his return, which is pretty huge.
he came back to he's gonna be on the SmackDown brand now. Probably ready to go into a program with Sami Zayn, which I think is a good idea. I think they'll chop it up really nice. Sammy's still going through his denial phase, as Kevin Owens would say. Um, what was after that? Oh, after that, we actually had a pretty good women's championship match between Bianca Belair and Carmella.
Yeah.
They are getting a rematch this Friday at Rolling Loud. I'm still interested to see how that's gonna go because it's going. I didn't know it was gonna be in two spots until
Yeah,
next
it's the
week.
two
Part of
separate
it is gonna be at
spots.
Rolling Loud. The other half is in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Um, what else happened this month? Oh, we got a pretty decent match between Otis and Cesaro. I'm honestly been very, very entertained with Otis. I think this heel turn was the best thing that they did for him so far.
He's
I
interesting.
think it's very interesting. He came out with the win over. Well, no, I take that back. Cesaro won the match, but Otis, proceeded to manhandle him. Put put him down to the mat. So Otis and Chad Gable, there, I like the pairing a lot. I think it's something to keep both of them, on TV. Um, I definitely expect them to get a rematch this Friday. Um, Edge and Seth Rollins had another segment where Seth Rollins told him, you kind of in my way, because of that, I'm gonna have to put you down. So, be aware of that.
He said, "Be aware." He told that man, "You're not even going to beat Roman either."
He
he
did say
made
that.
he made sure he didn't beat Roman. I'll give him that. He
Yeah,
said
he
he made
definitely had a
sure.
hand in that. And
He
now
made
all
sure.
hell is about to break loose between those two. That's going to be a very, very fun rivalry between
Yeah.
those two. Um,
Um. What else? I think that was it. There was a few other, what main event it?
the Baron Corbin
Oh
segment.
yeah, Baron Corbin's just going through it at this point. Like
Baron Corbin came
he's
out and
down
said,
bad.
My daughter is sick because she got to eat spaghetti out of a can. I need y'all to donate $100K to me so I can keep up with these bills."
Like my man's
It
is
was just a very funny segment. It's whatever they're doing, ready to do with Baron Corbin right now is very entertaining.
yeah, like Baron
He's the
Corbin.
perfect person
People don't
to
give
kind of go through something
I
like this.
like one thing about Baron Corbin. He knows how to draw heat, and it's like he's been. What was the past since he's been in the company? He has had the most interesting character dynamics. Cause he went from a lone wolf, Constable Corbin, King Corbin,
King Corbin,
and now he's broke
broke
Corbin.
boy Corbin, somewhat
So
broke boy,
yeah,
but he
so it's
still
like
got money.
exactly. So like Corbin knows how to play his roles really well. Like he does an amazing job at it, and plus he draws heat. Like the crowd still hates this nigga. Like he
Very
naturally is a
much.
hated guy, and that's what keeps people wonder why does he keep appearing on TV? Because he's a great heel. That's what keeps you around is being great at your freaking job, and he's a great heel. But oh yeah, then that fatal four way happened. Oh wait, Big E had an interesting moment with Paul
Oh,
Heyman's.
with Paul
Yeah,
Heyman, he said your boy. He was telling him, your boy's gonna get whooped.
he said your boy about to get
So,
whooped, and Heyman face was just like, what the hell? But I like how they just still
also,
teasing. It's like the tease of like eventually, like long term is going to be Roman versus Big E eventually down the road.
but it's
It's
like
just
these
a
little
matter of when.
seeds that they're playing right now are very entertaining.
Exactly. But yeah, they had a fatal four way. Seth Rollins won, and then he did the I call it the kiss of death when you climb up the ladder after you win
Yep.
like a match and you touch the you, you touch the money in the bank. That's the kiss of death. so we knew he wasn't going to win at that point. It was just like, all right, we know it's not going to happen. But yeah, so SmackDown was decent though. First show in front of the crowd was really dope. Uh, Fans was really decent. But let's go ahead and move over to Money in the Bank. I don't know why I keep calling Hell in a Cell. Money in the Bank. Usos and the Mysterios fought in the kickoff show. Usos won. Decent
I
match.
expect them to get a return match either sometime on SmackDown or they may do another match at SummerSlam.
More likely it's gonna be at SummerSlam. Uh, they just gonna let them just keep going back and forth for a minute. Uh,
That's
then then the women's Money in the Bank happened. Uh, Nikki Cross won. Shout out to Nikki Cross. She's also now your women's uh your Raw's women's champion right
Raw
now
Women's
because
Champion.
she cashed in on Charlotte on Raw the other night. Shout out to Nikki Cross. Do your thing. Niggas is mad, but it be that way sometimes. Anything you want to
I
add?
wouldn't say that they was that mad because a lot of people was actually she got one of the best reactions over the weekend too during the ladder match and on Raw on Monday.
Yeah, but you also
But
know,
you know
but you
the
also have to
internet wrestling community just want to
we're
be goofy.
yeah we're talking about the people who said this gimmick is trash and how in the hell this got passed up for what Peyton Royce was trying to sell. Peyton Royce was probably trying to sell a goddamn Jeep as a motherfucking no trying to sell a Buick as a Cadillac. This man said no. So hey, but anyway, but shout out to Nikki Cross. Then we have oh yeah, the Raw Tag Team Championship. AJ almost Viking Raiders almost looks amazing. He's going to be
Almost
really
really
good,
showed that he has a lot of potential in this match.
and he just you could tell he really enjoys being in the being in the ring.
Yeah,
So shout out to almost each match he's just getting better and better. Then we had Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte, really hard hitting match. Charlotte ended up winning. Shout out to Charlotte, respect.
time women's champion now.
Yep. Then we have Bobby Lashley versus Kofi, where Kofi literally got his ass beat.
Got decimated.
Literally got his ass beat. At least he got some offense this time around, but that boy got beat. Like he got beat. Like, like
It's like
prayers to Kofi.
through the 2 minute mark of the match, it was already over. Bobby
Yeah,
was just toying with him. He took it. He said he was going to take his time beating the shit out of him. So
he kept his
Bobby
word.
looked stronger than ever again.
He just unfortunately has to fight the one known as AutoZone Bill.
Although I actually do kind of have a theory about it. But I'm gonna wait till we get to the Raw segment.
All right. Then men's Money in the Bank, really freaking great match. Kevin Owens died for our
Yes,
sins. Drew McIntyre got dragged away by Mahal and the Big Mahals. Took that nigga away.
it really came. He was finna grab the briefcase, and they both came and dragged him off the ladder, beat him with chairs, and then Jinder was like, "Get him up, take him to the back, took him to the boom boom room."
He literally dragged that man's lifeless corpse. But yeah, really good
We got taken
men's
out the
Money in the
match.
Bank.
They had some really good high spots. Ricochet had a really good flip in the match. He did a flip over the top rope. He got so much hang time or in slow motion. He had enough time where he could have did another flip if he wanted.
Probably could have. Ricochet's crazy
But
good. Ricochet also is finally in actual
back in
ring
ring
gear.
gear,
He because his theory of he got to work his way back to the top is, I guess, over with. And plus, fans are back, so I guess that plays a role too, you know. So, shout out to Ricochet for having his moment. But Big E won by big ending Seth Rollins off the ladder and
offer
proceeded to
another
climb that.
beautiful moment in the match.
Then proceeded to have his moment, G. So, shout out to Big E. His moment is
His time is
anytime
coming.
now. I'll consider and say it's anytime now. So, I'm happy for Big E, though. Um, if I'm Big E though, if I was him, I'd be like, I'm cashing in at Mania. Put me in at the WrestleMania main event now. follows him. That's what I would do. But
Even though I don't think, well, yeah, because he could do it where like I'm gonna cash in, but this is when it's gonna be. So his man, if he was to like how John Cena did it to CM Punk, where he told him when he was gonna cash in. So like
mm-hmm,
he can that Roman has to, you know, prepare for him, or they got to prepare for each other, something like that.
exactly. So I'm down for that.
And
Uh,
that's a good idea.
but yeah, we'll see where things go. Then we had Edge versus Roman.
Very,
Uh,
very good match.
very good match. Once again, Roman is just so freaking amazing in the ring now. Edge still got the juice like that. Um, they did a good job just making where just both looked good. Edge looked great. Reigns looked amazing. Just such great work. It was funny when the what was it, the referee died and the Usos walking up and the
Yeah,
Mysterios just magically popped up, and then we sitting there thinking like,
it's fun.
well,
It was funny because I remember when the Usos popped up, and I seen two people pop up in the background. I'm thinking they were workers because you couldn't really see their faces.
yeah, it
All
was
I know
just the
is
way
once the
that
camera
camera was
switched,
set
and
up was,
all you see is them come up and hit the niggas from behind and falls.
but yeah, like
Um,
that was fun. That was really fun. So
so
then
they
after,
came out, and that opened up the door to Seth coming out and super kicking Edge in the head while Edge had Roman in the crossface. And from that point, it was pretty much over
it was
with.
sealed.
Seth ruined it for Edge, and now Edge is going to turn to quote unquote a 600 bitch again and try to end that man's life.
Pretty much. That's literally what them niggas fought in the look. I don't think
Once it
they
goes to the
made
crowd, it's over.
protocols for things to do and not to do. I'm not fighting in the crowds. I'm not. That just wasn't the bright thing to do. Like I barely want them touching the fans on entrances. They shouldn't, honestly.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It is what it is. So with all that being said,
After the
that wasn't
match,
very bright.
Roman told the crowd, "Now you guys, you got to acknowledge me. I done took out all your heroes except one."
And then you hear
The trumpets, the trumpet sounded, and Superman came back from the sun, aka Hollywood. John Cena came back. He had probably maybe the biggest, but arguably the second biggest pop of his career. I
that
would
Royal
say the
Rumble pop is
biggest.
still
That Royal
amazing,
Rumble
G.
pop was amazing because nobody thought he was coming back that soon.
Like that Royal Rumble pop was of legend. Like, and then he was in New York, so it was like
Yeah,
everything about it was just like, yo, this hits, this hits. So yeah, but Cena came back, fronted Roman, looked him. Roman just had that look of,
why are you here?
why are you here, bro? Like I'm
We don't need you.
like so telling me that I have to destroy another one of y'all heroes. Cause I'm looking forward to his promo on Friday, G. Roman's
Yeah, that's
promo
gonna
on
be.
Friday, G, is gonna be fun. But this is the thing. Cena's gonna come back and they're gonna go back to back. And I can't wait.
Cena's gonna be there Friday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they're gonna go back to back on the promos this Friday. Niggas is gonna keep bringing up when the first time they rivalry the first time and that nigga Roman just looked flustered. But this is a different Roman Reigns.
Very different.
Very different, G. So it's like it's gonna be funny to see them bar each other up. But yeah, hell, I'm
That concluded
oh shit, hell in
a
a
really
cell.
good. That was the second best pay per view of the year to me so far.
Yeah, I give it that.
Easily.
I definitely give it because everybody showed out. Once again, the fans being back just it's a you kind of
Makes a
miss the
big
dynamic.
difference.
You really just miss the dynamic of the fans being back. So then with Raw, excuse me, Raw this
Raw
week.
started off the show with didn't it start the show with Cena?
Yeah, Cena came out said that fuck that nigga Roman, he's an asshole. I gotta humble this man. Like, well, damn, nigga, that's how you really feel.
and he had his bro moment with Matt Riddle. That was pretty cool. That's another rub to Matt Riddle, by the way.
Yep, Riddle was getting that rub, but he
We get
also
the third.
he the case was dropped, so it's safe to you can do whatever you can push the man without having to be like, should we? So it's safe to use my boy now. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, so they had their moment. Then Matt
Right after that,
Riddle
it
and
was
the Viking Raiders
six.
versus Morrison, AJ, and Omos, which was a decent match. I have no complaints at all.
Who I forget who won. John Morrison and AJ almost won, did they?
I believe they did. I don't remember. I think they did. No, the Viking Raiders won.
Oh yeah, they did because I
Yeah,
think John Morrison took the pin.
yeah. So then we have Elias and Jackson Riker in the Symphony of Destruction match. I did not watch this match because Jackson Riker I don't fuck with. So you could tell the people about that match.
Um, for the most part, I just like the match type. I still, I like Elias as a wrestler. I do not give an ounce of a fuck about Jackson Riker. I don't think he deserves to be on TV, to be honest. But that's not up to me or Chris. So you know what we can do about that. Overall though, it was actually a watchable match. It was actually pretty good. Like I said, I actually like the match type. Jackson Riker did come out with the win. But who cares? I don't really care about Jackson Riker,
Yeah.
so we can move on.
So then Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler lost to Tamina and Natalia. This was it is what it is with this match, but it did lead to Nia breaking up with Reginald. So, but
Ooh.
Reginald proceeded to win a 24/7 title. So,
Shout out to Reginald. You know, he has
yo,
a
I
place in
think him
WWE.
having is gonna be funny because he's gonna be doing some funny ass Jesse White Tumblr shit to get out these jams.
Yeah, he might be. I could see them doing something where Reginald is like the longest holder of the 24/7 belt, possibly.
It's a possibility because like his gimmick is just how he gonna get out the jams. G,
Yeah,
that's gonna be the gimmick for him. Like with our truth, we had some hilarious moments. I think with Reggie, we're gonna see some like creative ways how the nigga gonna flip out the way and shit. So
yeah.
I'm cool. I'm cool for him. Uh, Sheamus and Humberto had another match. I'm tired of them niggas, but Sheamus won. So now we got Sheamus versus Damian Priest. I'm all for it. Let's get it. You know. I don't know what just happened. So yeah, then Bobby Lashley had an open challenge, which led to the return of Keith
Keith
Lee.
Lee, which I kind of thought. I don't know why I didn't expect it more because they weren't in Texas and he's from Texas too,
Yeah,
so
I didn't
it
think
made
about it.
sense.
Yeah. So, yeah, so I'm happy to see Keith Lee back. Uh, Bobby looked dominant, but Keith Lee had his flashes of like looking okay, but they did play the he's rusty role with
Yeah,
him. So, but
I
Keith Lee
definitely
did
think they'll
have
cross
moments.
paths again somewhere down the line this year.
Definitely,
And once
definitely.
Keith Lee gets back into the swing of things,
Yep. So,
um, immediately after the match, fortunately, we got the confirmation that Bobby Lashley is next on William Goldberg's list of being next.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
that's what
Yeah.
I think of Goldberg. G, fuck that
But
nigga. G.
my theory with this is I do still think Brock is coming back. I This is just a theory. I'm not even entirely sure if I believe it myself yet. But I think they have Bobby squash Goldberg.
You gotta think
He
about it.
probably
It makes sense for
it's
them to squash him. Oh, I'm sorry to cut you off. The nigga lost to Drew. He lost to fucking Braun Strowman. Bobby beat both of them
yep.
multiple times.
I think Bobby squashes him, and then Brock comes back at SummerSlam to be like, okay, you done had your run, but now, what you gonna do when you walk into this wall? You're
Bobby
not
going I
squashing
mean
me.
Brock gonna pull out the man bun and just gonna flow.
But that's my theory for that. I hope no, I just don't. If not, I really just don't want to see this match. There's plenty of other guys you could put Bobby up against to set him up for Brock, even if Brock isn't coming back at SummerSlam.
Yeah,
It's just you could have done other things with Bobby.
yeah, I agree.
But I think the best route for them to go to is just have this be a squash match, especially considering that Goldberg can't put on a match worth the damn that's longer than 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be a
Because none of
sprint.
his last couple matches have been that long.
It's going to be a sprint. It's going to be a very quick, fast-paced ass match. So it is what it is, and also just a simple fact of Roman don't want to fight Goldberg because he know he that nigga a bitch. He, you have to do what you have to do.
And now that you bring that up, that kind of does be like, okay, since because of his contract, they kind of owe him one of the matches, I guess. So
yeah.
Since it wasn't Roman, I guess it had to be Bobby.
Yeah, but either
Even
way,
though it was Drew, I don't know because they gave it to him with Drew, so I don't know. But
it is what it is. But just let it be a sprint, and as long as Bobby come out champ, I'm happy. Karrion Kross makes his main roster debut, and he fights Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy brought back No More Words entrance. Niggas was fake happy. But Jeff Hardy proceeded to win the match. And by literally
everybody was mad for no reason
by rolling that nigga up. So it is what it is. Fuck Karrion Kross. But I will say this: WWE, if you're going to have this nigga around on the main roster, and he does that entrance without his wife, that nigga is nothing more than a swaggerless Damian Priest.
It's funny because that's not who people was comparing him to. They said that man is gonna be hiding right now.
No, you're right, and I take that back because I'm a Damian Priest fan. No, that nigga.
I think they said hiding right Snitsky before he lost his hair.
No, who's that one nigga? G. Luther Reigns. There we go. He's gonna be Luther fucking Reigns, G. That nigga gonna be nothing but a glorified Luther Reigns.
Both of them, I think the Undertaker had to fight both of them back to back in.
They tried to have Undertaker put them niggas over and it just didn't work. G.
And it did not work.
Like Vince had a moment where he was trying to get some big niggas over and it just didn't work. G. It just didn't.
Even though I think Karrion Kross is, all jokes aside, I think he's gonna be a lot better than they are. He already is.
Yeah, I think main roster wise,
he's kind of overreacting to this loss, though. I don't think it was that big of a loss. Granted, he is the NXT champion and all, but I don't think it was that big of a deal because once he actually makes his full mainstay on the main roster, he's gonna run through a couple guys.
Yeah, he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be better in the main roster because thing with NXT.
It's bigger. It's
wrestling ass niggas in NXT. It's wrestling ass niggas. He's not a wrestling ass nigga, and he doesn't do nothing really like. He's not flashy like that either. He has a very.
He's a hard hitter.
He's a hard hitter type, but it doesn't have that pizzazz. He doesn't know how to carry a match. You know what I mean? So he has to be with another hard hitter. That's why, like, his best match is still the match he had with Keith Lee. Regardless, it's still his best fucking match. So yeah, like him being the main roster, he's gonna be with more. It's a more controlled pace compared to NXT, and also he's working with guys that's at least closer to his size.
Exactly. Jeff Hardy was about the same height as him.
Yeah, like NXT, that nigga like a fucking giant, but now he's working with people who's his actual size, people who it looks realistic that he's fighting with.
Right. So guys like, he'll eventually chop it up with somebody like Sheamus. That'll be good. Probably Damian Priest again. That'll be nice to see.
Yeah.
Somebody like possibly a Cesaro one day. Cesaro is somebody that I think he will have a good match.
I'm gonna say this. If he can't have a good match with Cesaro, that's gonna tell me all I need to know.
Yeah, because
That's
if
gonna
you
tell me
can't have a
all I
good
need
match
to
with
know.
Cesaro had name somebody that Cesaro had a mid tier match with.
I can't.
Exactly.
I can't. So
If you can't have a good match for Cesaro, hey, that's on you.
yeah, at that point you should just count your days till you get featured in Death. At that point, G, you just gotta count your days. Anyway, Raw ends with Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley. They have another really good slapper of a match. Charlotte ended up winning by disqualification. No, Rhea Ripley won by disqualification because Charlotte was trying to walk away with the belt. Rhea chased her, and Charlotte said, tap with the belt. So Rhea Ripley was so then Rhea Ripley got up, they fought, brawled, and then Rhea
Rhea
Ripley
Ripley
eventually got the
set
upper
her up
hand.
to get cashed in on by Nikki Cross.
I
Nikki
don't think
Cross
she
came
set
in.
her up, but she definitely did one up on Charlotte, and she got cashed in on. So
Well, no, that's what I mean. Like she did the heavy lifting before the
the
cash
funny
in.
thing is, Nikki Cross came out right before Rhea Ripley did the Riptide.
She did.
Yes, she came out like Rhea Ripley, like right before she lifted Charlotte up to do it. She was already out. So it was
It's,
like
it was happening regardless, man.
it was gonna happen regardless, but it was just like
The
the
timing was
timing
just a
was
little bit off.
funny because at that point it was like Rhea Ripley did the Riptide and threw her ass in the ring. It was like, all right, we're gonna do this. But yeah, but shout out to Charlotte for letting Nikki Cross have this moment. Really dope. Happy for her. And all of that. NXT was okay. I literally just finished it before we started recording. It was decent. That big nigga in the breakout tournament, Odyssey Jones.
He looks a little promising. I like what I saw from
Yeah,
him.
he
He looks like a more upbeat version of Mark Henry.
yes, he's Mark Henry with Keith Lee's athleticism.
Yeah, and that's pretty scary.
That's a scary nigga because Keith Lee's very fucking athletic for his size, but this dude is Mark Henry's size. And I think he even pays homage to Mark Henry because he wore the similar
Yeah,
get
the
up that
tires with
Mark
the
Henry
stripes on the
wore. I
side.
think Nation and Domination Mark Henry. Like
Mm-hmm.
so, like I see something with him. I'm glad he won, but so yeah, so
I
shout
don't
out to
think he
him.
wins the breakout tournament though. I feel like he somehow gets screwed in a way,
Yeah,
possibly
because
based on what.
I think it's going to be that nigga. I can't think of his name. But he been on NXT the past few weeks. He had that match against
The guy that won
Adam.
last week.
No, not the guy that won last week. Is another dude. He fought Adam Cole a few weeks ago. You remember the dude say ruthless aggression?
Oh, that guy. He was the black guy.
Yeah,
The other
I
black
want to
guy.
call that nigga Black Carlito,
Oh,
but
I think his name's Carmelo Hayes or something.
there we go,
Like that.
Carmelo
I think
Hayes. There we go. I think
yeah,
he's going to win.
yeah.
I think he's going to win. So
I kind of like what I saw from him too. I like
I like
what
him.
he brought to
Like
the
he's going to
table.
be really
The,
good.
the main thing that I'm glad that both of them have is that they actually seem to have some type of personality there. I see a little bit of that.
Hey, look, these new era of black wrestlers have personalities. G, we should be happy.
Very
So
happy.
like, we don't have to just be known as athletic, talented niggas. Shelton Benjamin, and all of that. So, and I love Shelton Benjamin, but the most personality he had was when I did my
It's the
season with
gold
him.
standard.
Was my no, not the gold standard. My season I did with him on SmackDown versus Raw, and he had all the
Oh,
gold. Niggas, literally, I had Shelton Benjamin as that nigga. G, I've had that nigga have the IC belt. He had the whatever the main, well, the heavyweight or whatever WWE title, tag team champ. He was out here. G, that
I
was the
love
most
playing with Shelton
personality
Benjamin.
he had. But yeah, so
But yeah, I'm glad. overall, I'm glad to see guys come in like that. Like having that personality and that charisma that helps a black wrestler specifically a lot more than it would anybody else. Because there's plenty of natural athletes in the WWE. But what's going to separate you is your character and your personality.
Mm-hmm. Charisma. So, but yeah. So shout out to what else happened on it? Oh, Samoa Joe was on the prowl for Karrion Cross, but Karrion Cross didn't pop up until the
He
end.
said,
Of course,
"Nah, I was on Raw last night. I don't feel like coming in. See
exactly. I'm
y'all
like,
next
nigga, I
week."
lost to Jeff Hardy. Like, I'm not coming in. G, fuck that.
Right.
But he came to beat up William Regal because if you are for some reason in the NXT parking lot, you will get jumped.
You're getting your ass beat.
Literally, that's the worst place to be is in the NXT parking lot. So it is what it is when it comes to that. Kyle O'Reilly fought what's that
We
boy
fought
name?
Austin Theory in a
Austin
pretty good
Theory.
match.
It was good match. I have no complaints. And
Kyle O'Reilly won. Um, there's
oh,
something else going on.
Diamond Mine had a match.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
they beat Bobby Fish and Kushida,
yeah.
I believe.
Yep. Hit Row Records had a moment with uh
What you predicted. You
yep,
predicted this.
Collision Course. Difference is Hit Row is engaging with them niggas.
Hey, when your
So
name is
it's
Hit
like they
Row, you
say,
pull
look, we
up
coming for
first.
y'all fade. Even though it's like, gee, like why y'all chasing niggas to fight Isaiah Swerve? But it is what it is. But that should be a fun little thing. We have literally the blacks versus Mexicans at Curie all over again. Uh but yeah, so that was it. AW, I pretty much caught the end of Fighter Fest Night 1, and pretty much it was a Texas death match between uh what's that big nigga name? Lance Archer and John Moxley, and they were poking each other with forks. And then John Moxley proceeded to go through a table of barbed wire, and and then Lance Archer won, and then some big Samoan nigga from New Japan came out.
Um,
But
I did not see the show at all, to
yeah,
be
so
honest.
that's all. But let's just talk about the big AEW rumor as of right now. The word on the street is that Daniel Bryan. Now I'm gonna say this. See this thing. I
Because it's
never
not
heard
coming
of
from
this.
anybody that's a reasonable source.
This is not a legit. I never heard of this source before, ever. It's not from
Was it
Fightful.
called Boss
It's
Fights or something?
yeah. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, it's not from Dave Meltzer. It's not from Fightful. It's not from that sap nigga. Uh, none of the legit
None of that
legit
music.
wrestling sources. Where you'd be like, if you heard it from them, you'd be like, huh,
Okay, maybe it's some smoke around.
yeah, some smoke to it. But to say that Dan Bryan outright signed, I'm like,
Nah,
okay, we gotta wait and see.
that's what you seen. The
But I
same thing
was
with CM Punk.
see him.
They
Look,
believe CM Punk is, but that rumor comes up every
that's
year.
that's bullshit. I won't believe CM Punk wants to wrestle no more. If he wanted to wrestle, he would have been came back to wrestle. But if Daniel Bryan has indeed signed with AEW, applause to them because you literally probably gave that man tons and tons
That's
of
probably their
creative.
most legit star.
Yeah, and you had, but at the same time, I don't give a fuck. That night he debuts, you put a referee in that ring, tell Kenny Omega to get out that fucking get out the ring, and you tell that nigga to lay down, lay on his stomach, and get put in the yes lock. And you put that belt on Daniel Bryan, and you figure it out from there.
Simple as that. Because
Simple as
if
that.
you sign Daniel Bryan, you're in the position that TNA was back when they signed Kurt Angle. You have the most legitimate wrestler you could sign that's not named Roman Reigns or John Cena. You skyrocketed him to the top. There's no oh, he has to start from here type shit. I don't want to hear that.
I don't.
I'm not no. He don't have to go through nobody. He don't have to go through Hunter Hearst roads to earn his keep. Fuck all that. This is Daniel Bryan's show.
Yep. Because when Kurt Angle popped up on Impact,
He was on business.
Jeff Jarrett bent over for him. If anything,
And think about that. Think about that.
Him.
Jeff Jarrett was putting a broomstick up the ass of TNA at the time. Let's just say that.
The only thing that Jeff Jarrett could have done to Kurt Angle, which was take his wife. That's all he could have done. And at the end of the day, he did that. But regardless, it was a fair trade. Kurt Angle took over TNA. Jeff Jarrett took his wife. That's how it needs to be. Now, Daniel Bryan will be a very fun moment in time. But also, I pray for that man's neck. Damn, bro, it's too many parallels here.
Yeah. Please do not put Daniel Bryan in any death matches. Please do.
I think it's AEW. Death matches is part of being elite.
They already overdoing it. How many death matches have they had in 1 year?
Most of them involve John Moxley.
Still.
Unless you count then they be having group death matches too, which makes it even more unique because now everybody's dying. But that's part of
the eliteness
of all elite wrestling.
Just debuted today. He's facing Chris Jericho in a death match just in the next coming weeks, I guess.
See?
I think his name's Nick Gage. He's like he's supposed to be that dude that's like a deathmatch expert or some shit.
What the fuck?
That's what I'm saying. It's like I'm not mad if this is their main gimmick, but it's like, damn, like make it special.
Like, come on, bro. But if Daniel Bryan does indeed sign, that is huge for them. Like, you did a good job picking up. Not even just respectable. It's one thing to sign respectable WWE talent. Like Impact. It was one thing to sign Jeff Hardy, Christian Cage, past his prime Booker T. It's different when they got Kurt Angle in his prime. That's different.
Now Kurt Angle legitimized them. Even though they were building up.
He legitimized them in a way that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
With AEW, you get Daniel Bryan. You said, okay. Now, I'm not going to sit and say, oh my God, we can compete, because at the end of the day, one man doesn't make a company. Unless you have a Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan type, John Cena type. No. Because Daniel Bryan, as great of a wrestler does he sell tickets? Yes and no. But he's not a face of the company type guy.
Yeah.
Regardless, when it comes to WWE, it's a bag. And regardless, they know how their top guys are faces of wrestling. Because when you think of wrestling, you think of the top guy in WWE. That's how it is.
Their big names become bigger than wrestling.
Exactly. But with Daniel Bryan, you have somebody who you legitimize as like, oh shit, okay. But also, it just says where we at in terms of wrestling, where you have, like I've been saying, you have multiple places you can go to and wrestle. Whether if you tired of, and the thing is, WWE did right by Daniel Bryan. If anything, they protected that man's neck, so he can have a chance to be like, oh shit, legitimize his career. I wouldn't say legitimize, but extend his career longer than he wanted we could have expected. And then on top of it, had this opportunity to be like, okay, let me just go elsewhere and see what I can do. But it does legitimize AEW. I will give Tony Khan a lot of credit. He has a bag, and he's using it. You sign.
Yeah, there's no reason. It's no reason. You have to be a fool to pass up on Daniel Bryan and not give him the money that he's asking for.
Exactly. Like, you have to be a fool. Because the thing is, he's going to at least show up every week.
Exactly.
Even though he's saying he wants a very limited type schedule, my assumption is he only going to pop up on TV. for at least the
which is
beginning.
fine. That's the only place you really need him to, because that's where you broadcasting your product at.
Exactly. But like I said, I will have an issue with if he doesn't debut. I don't care when he debuts. It could be probably next week for all we know. But that nigga walks in the ring
Also,
with his
on
ring
top of
gear.
that, you still have to build up the guys that you do have too. Like
Of
Hangman
course.
Page, he should still be next up. You just got Aleister Black. You know, don't have Cody bury him for whatever
Cody's gonna be
reason. Don't
Cody
do
at the end of
shit
the
like
day.
that.
Cody's gonna be Cody at the end of the day. When it comes to that, he's gonna be him. Nothing you can do about
I mean,
that.
I'm not saying you should have Cody get buried himself, but you can put over two guys without burying one of the other guys or making one of them look weaker than they need to.
Yep. But if it is true, shout out to AEW. If it's false, you niggas look stupid as fuck. And I means that. But anything else in wrestling? No, I think we good. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this shit up. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. Appreciate you guys for listening. As always, we appreciate you niggas. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at 3s from the ring, 3s from the ring. Subscribe, like, comment, follow everything on the YouTube page. New episode of Black Otakus is up. New threes. Of course, this episode of Threes from the Ring. Timeless vibes. Got content. Make sure you check that shit out. You listening to us on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you have yet to subscribe, follow, all of that. If you can like, rate. If you can, do all of the above. And make sure you copy some merch. YouTubeMedia.net. We appreciate the support. We appreciate those that's fucking with us. Datro will be back next week. And we'll talk about whatever's been going on. Since NBA is officially in off-season mode, the show gets flipped. If you are new to the shit, wrestling comes first now because it's what's popping, barring a UFC event or barring a major event in basketball. We will have some very unique basketball content for you guys. I mean it this time around. As in, we're going to watch the 2005 NBA Finals of the Spurs versus Pistons, and you niggas with no pain. You niggas with no pain.
Well, we will. We got to sit back and watch.
Yep. And then we will give you guys special wrestling content as well, since that is going to be the main focus of the show for most of the summer. But thanks for listening, and peace.